Conrad Trow, and I'm here in the Foot Pro shop talking about putting in some of their new diamond inserts into shoes. They have come up with a wide variety of different inserts for different applications in bar shoes and therapeutic type shoes. So the first one that we talk about is the straight bar. It comes in different sizes and some thicknesses too, just depending on the size of horse and the application you're wanting to use. Then the next one is the egg bar, that's rounder on the back. The same deal, different sizes, and they all have different sizes and thicknesses. We have the heart bars, which can be welded in. The smaller half round one goes in the toe of shoes, which is used for suspensory healing and the suspensory shoe. The longer half moon shape is what they use in the collateral ligament shoes, and you can weld this in once you've shaped the shoe and modified the little insert to fit that foot better. And then the last one is the onion heels, welded in the onions for horses that have some sole bars, need more flotation in the back half of the foot, etc. So those are the different applications that we have and are going to do today. The next thing that we use in this modification, we shape these shoes to fit the horse's feet on the job, and then we modify the inserts to fit into that shoe, and then we weld them in with just regular welders on the job. We have two different welders here today. The top one and the bottom one are both MIG welders. The only difference is the top one does not have gas, and we use a gasless flux cord rod, or wire to be correct, and the bottom one has gas with the correct wire in for that too. And you know, for all the finer specifications and things that you need, I would check with your local welding supplier. The difference between the two welders when you weld is we can see on this shoe. Everything here on my right is welded with a gasless welder, and you can see the splatter, and it requires a lot more cleanup. On your left is welded with a shielding gas, and it just comes out a lot cleaner and less cleanup at the end. So it's your preference. Whatever you want to put in your vehicle, take with you. It's kind of what suits you the best. So what I'm going to do first is do a demo on putting the straight bar insert in. I'm going to use a classic roller shoe, and I'm going to shape it into a shape that I think that this horse needs and will fit this horse's foot first and foremost. And the reason I like welding inserts in, it allows me to fit the feet the way I want to and then put the insert exactly where I want to. Now, if these inserts have a nice little heel shape cut into them, and if by luck your heels of your horse are the same width as that, you do not have to modify it because they fit really well in there. Just a little bit of grinding, they'll fit really well. But 9 times out of 10, the heels aren't perfectly the same size as the insert that you're using, so you have to do some cutting and a little bit of grinding, but that's not a big deal. So I'm going to get this shoe heated up and get it going. One thing that I've learned from doing a lot of inserts is that it's way easier to modify the insert than it is the shoe by cutting the heels off the shoe so the insert fits perfectly. So that's just the method I use every day. And when we are putting on different types of bar shoes, we fit the shoe where the heels are. I come in with my grinder and I grind straight lines in here, so when I have to modify the insert, I have straight lines and they just fit easier. So that's the only thing I'll do to the shoe, just create a nice straight spot, but I only do that after I've shaped it, and I make sure I always have a shoe that's big enough that I have a little bit of extra material there to do that with. Going to shape up the shoe. From here I'll go ahead and get all my fitting heats done. And on my last fitting heat of my horse, when I'm about done and I'm 100% satisfied with my fit, I'll take my silver pencil or my welder's pencil, and center of the frog is sitting right here on the horse. I will make sure I find the center and I'll mark it on my shoe. This way I can get the center of the frog plate or the straight bar plate in the center, and it fits really nicely in the middle of the frog, and it doesn't look offset, and it just looks correct. So that's what I'll do with that before I quench it when it's on the foot. I don't just guess where the center is, I mark it on the foot. And just clean up the heels quickly. So what I've done here is, you can see I've made these nice and straight. I haven't shortened the shoe, I've just cleaned out the center so I can put the insert in correctly. So at this point, I'll grab the steel insert. I'm going to move my mark from here to here. I find it's easier with clipped shoes to work it upside down because the clips don't get in the way. And here's an important fact that I think is very important: the thickness of your insert and the thickness of your shoe. I like my inserts to be a little thinner. That way I can move my bar shoe up or down, so it depends on how much frog clearance I have or need. So a horse with a prolapse frog, I will need more clearance, so it'll be a set down bar shoe instead. So what I do is I'll lay it up here, make sure everything is in a nice straight line. The insert is facing straight. Make sure the bar shoe fits where I want it at the back, and I'll scribe a line. And I always just put a mark on it, that way I know which side that faces. Okay, so that is what we have. So I'm going to I have a portable bandsaw in my truck. We are going to cut the little excess off, but it's important to remember to leave the line because of the way I marked it. If you cut the line, your insert is going to be too small. So I'm just going to cut that. I'll get another piece of steel here for my fingers. Don't be afraid to leave yourself a little extra. You can always make it a little smaller. So before I grind anything, I go over for a test fit, and I think it's really close. So now I'm going to go to the grinder and grind just a little bevel off on each side at a 45 on that corner edge and that edge, and that's going to help with my penetrating weld. So just take it over the grinder and just a very light grind. It doesn't matter what inserts I'm putting in. It doesn't matter what inserts I'm putting in. I do that to all of them. So now to put it in, I place the one down, the other one sits on the top, and I come in with my hammer and I tap it in, and the insert is in. I'll make sure this one I want it flush with the ground bearing surface. I tap my insert there, make sure everything is square and flat, and there my insert is ready to weld in. You can see the recess, space for the frog, and everything is square across the back. I like the new little concave here. I call it like a sports bar shoe. Stops a horse from possibly grabbing at their little recess, so for a sporting horse. So. Okay, now we're going to go to welding it. So I clamp it on my vise. Turn on the welder. And always warn your clients about the spark, and if you have horses standing in the cross ties, always just have, if you have somebody with you, watching that, because sometimes if the horses have never seen it, it's the first time you've done it, the light will scare the horses and it can be a dangerous situation, so always be aware of that fact. Weld the one side. The other. And I always like to weld the back. Careful, your shoe does get hot, so. And then on the inside here. Here you can see, very clean, very little cleanup, and your insert is done. So what you could do from here is go to the grinder and box your shoe up, clean up the welder. If you needed to take any edges off, you could do that with a file, or you could have done it beforehand if you felt like you needed to, but these edges are all pretty rounded up, so I don't feel like they're any danger to the horse. And that's it.